Hey, what's up? It's Bond, and today I'm going to talk about Mass Effect and what I think some of the agent references may be talking about and even maybe referring back to. But first, if you like Mass Effect, if you like BioWare, if you like gaming, videos, and news in general, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you like this video, hit that like button and then comment down below with basically anything. That all helps other people find this video and we can have a little discussion. If you really want to support my video making, my podcast, and all of the other content I make, consider becoming a YouTube member. You get early access to videos, you get a cool little icon when you comment, and you help me justify my time and upgrade my setup. With that said, let's get into the video. We know from some references recently, including a tweet from BioWare when they posted some of the N7 Day media or just talking about N7 Day in general. They referred to us as agent. They said agent in this tweet. I will try and make sure I put it up on screen. At the time, I believe this was in 2022, I don't think people really picked up on it as much, even though we should have, because that was kind of strange, right? That's not a moniker or a name or a nickname we've ever had, even as a Spectres, because Spectres are kind of agents for the Citadel Council, right? But not really. They're kind of just like one-man armies, at least in some cases for the Council. So this is something that really got brought up more after this last N7 Day in 2023, when we got this trailer that portrayed this N7 in a very secret agent kind of espionage kind of way, right? And that was notable because we haven't really seen N7 agents presented that way so far in the franchise in general. We've seen them more specifically as these like armored behemoths, or at least these like very not stealthy folks who are kind of just there to kick butt and take names. So that trailer in general, which I'll make sure I show at some point here, definitely kind of gave a different feel, but it was still very N7, right? Like the back of the armor and the helmet definitely looked like what you would expect from the armor even in the trilogy, right? It's just the trench coat and the kind of Daft Punk helmet, even though that's actually more of a reference than I thought before, which we'll talk about, indicated that we're something different. Now, the big counter I had to that whole discussion was that, if you're a secret agent, wearing this very clearly N7 labeled garb isn't exactly making you a hard figure to notice, but that just may be what they wear in their general ranks. I think what we are going to end up finding out is that N7s can go into different paths, right? We may find out that, the type of N7 that Shepard was, and maybe this is a post Reaper War change, right? But N7, for Shepard and for the ones that we saw otherwise, were just kind of these teams of like the most BA of the most BA, who just go and they get sent out to do the most critical missions that have to succeed, and for the most part they do because of who they are. It's at least it seems like there's some hint that maybe post-war they're a little more subtle. Maybe they have a different branch of N7s. Maybe that's more of like an intelligence officer or an agent of some type. Another reason this is kind of an interesting discussion to have is due to a part of the 25th anniversary booklet that they put out, and I'll show it on screen here. Now, what this is it's basically just a combination of a bunch of the projects from this 25th anniversary book that was put out for BioWare, where they talked about all of the properties they made. There's all kinds of games in here. There's actually games, I think it was like Iron Steel or something. There were BioWare games I played that I didn't realize were BioWare games, but What I want to talk about here is this the making of Agent. So Agent was a game that they dabbled in 2007. This was in the middle, though, of the development of, they were getting going on Mass Effect and Dragon Age as well. And what this was meant to be was an espionage game that was going to be something very different than the games they ended up making with Mass Effect and Dragon Age. And unfortunately, those games took up essentially too much bandwidth and basically canceled out what we were going to get from this. But as this was pointed out in my Discord by one of the users, goes by YouTube's, and I believe Kala Elizabeth also has mentioned this in a recent video where she's seen this as well, is there's a lot of things about this game that was canceled that sure seem like maybe they're carrying the idea of this game forward to give us a new Mass Effect game that has, a lot of familiar elements, but also maybe has a different take, which may not be all bad. One of the big things about this, they talked about having this 5 minutes, 5 minutes of gold, where there was this scene that they prototyped out and did that essentially was a 5-minute demo of the conversation system. And it was really meant to highlight, this like emergent storytelling and how you could affect what was going on in the moment and in the future by the choices you made. Obviously, this was going to come into play, at least in some capacity, when it came to the Mass Effect and Dragon Age games as they came along, and especially with Mass Effect as it impacted the future games with decisions you made in the previous ones. I think one of the interesting things here that you see when you read more into this is this was not supposed to be a full release. This was supposed to be an episodic release game. If you remember, I believe the was it Tales of the Walking Dead from Telltale, or there's been games since then that have released like this in this kind of episodic thing, for better or worse. I think most gamers really do just want to get pay $60-$70 for the game and just have the game, right? But that would have been an interesting take there. But I think in general, one of the things here is, if you look on the left side of this page, is you see this, what this looks like it was probably from like a tech demo. If you think about it, this was being done in 2007. So honestly, the graphics look really, really good for the time, even though this may be, maybe a mix of concept art and actual gameplay. I don't know if this is from that 5 minutes of gold or not. It definitely seems familiar though, and even when you look at the way that they have the conversation wheel and stuff like that, this isn't a Mass Effect game, but I definitely think that when you look at even the concept art, but especially when you have this reference to literally a game called Agent, and then these new references to an agent with Mass Effect, I think we might be able to start to put some of these things together for what may be coming in the next game. I don't really know more than that. If you haven't noticed, I've been pretty short on Mass Effect videos lately. I did a really awesome podcast or just kind of live stream with Kala Elizabeth over on her channel, and N7 Legend from the Mass Effect Lorecast. We went for about 2 hours, and it was intense, and we talked about a lot. Mostly about the future of Mass Effect and BioWare and this next game that we may or may not hear more about sooner than later. So it got me really motivated to talk about it again. Where I'm at is I'm excited to get more info, but I have been kind of short on making videos because most of my ideas that I had for videos have essentially been maybe not disproven, but made very unlikely, which is fine. But more than anything, I'm just kind of excited to see what we will get maybe this year. I'm not expecting a big deluge of information, but I'm hoping that we get something to go on, and especially in the coming years. I think we'll get more than people are expecting. It seems like even when they give us news about Dreadwolf, which they should, because that game is very likely coming very soon, they always seem like they make sure to give us something about Mass Effect. So it seems like, they definitely understand that while many people are very excited for Dragon Age Dreadwolf and are anticipating more news for that, they also seem to recognize that there's people, maybe folks like me, who are also pretty interested in that game coming out so we can get more about the next Mass Effect. And I think it's okay. I think it's okay to be excited about both. So in the comments, let me know what you think about this agent stuff. If you think this is a reference, or maybe they are kind of bringing back the idea they had for this agent game. I want to thank YouTube's on the Discord for pointing this out and kind of bringing this to a bunch of our attention. If you want a place to talk about Mass Effect with a pretty small and nice group, check out the link in the description of the video, and you can find the Discord link in there if you do a little searching. And I thank you for watching. So feel free to comment down below with what you think. Subscribe to the channel if you like this video and like it as well. If you want to check out my podcast, it's the Bonfire Podcast, as well as the Mass Effect Hypecast, right here on this YouTube channel and on all podcast platforms. If you want to support the channel, you can do so as a Patreon, as a YouTube member, as a Twitch subscriber, especially if you have a free Prime sub. You can find links to all of those things in the link in the description of the video. That's all I have for this one, so until next time.